What's up? Ah, I should have waited to smile. I just put on this bright colored lipstick. Welcome to another episode of the Tina Parker Show. Y'all, I'm so excited to bring you this episode, and I want to say a super huge thank you to Miss Elena Cardone. If you don't know her, you should follow her. Um, I just came across, I believe Yahweh, like shows us things or puts things in our heart intentionally to help us um maybe we're to get inspired to do something or I just love it. Anyway, I came across this video from a on Instagram from Elena Cardone. She's an incredible woman. She also wrote the book Build Your Empire. If you haven't read that, you really should, especially you ladies, Kate. And if you're married, even if you're not married, it will help you when you find your Prince Charming, okay? But this, I just want to thank her because she shared this book that actually changed her life. It's Ron Hubbard's book, Dianetics, okay? And I started reading it while I was working out this morning, and then all these juices were flowing, and I thought, oh, this right here could help me in my show today, okay? And it's going to apply to pleasure is power, okay? From Apathy. If you guys have read the book, put it in the comments. Let me know if you've read the book. If you haven't, let me know if you haven't read the book. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I am doing a 30-day challenge. And it's to kind of wake us up. It's to create that feeling of more alive. So it really applies to this. And every day I'm giving a message, a lesson maybe that can help any woman that's maybe in survival. Maybe you're stuck. I don't know what your situation is, but there's a lot of chaos going on in the world. And I think a lot of people are going through difficult times and betrayal, loss, job loss, all the headlines, all these things, okay, can create us to kind of just lose trust and lose faith in the world. So, this is just perfect timing. I'm so grateful that Elena, I saw this, okay? She doesn't know that it was helpful for me, and it was a reminder, you need to read that book again. And anyway, I just want to thank you, Miss Elena Cardone. Okay, let's get into this, you guys. So this 30-day challenge, we're on day 14 of this challenge. And all it is, you guys, sometimes people think that in order to move forward, in order to see change in their life, it's got to be something crazy. You know what I mean? You have to completely change your life. I got lotion on me. But you don't. It starts small. Okay? And I just want you to know that. And we're going to talk about that in this episode. And so it's just 100 heel elevated squats. Okay? I'm adding weight just to increase the pain, the change. I want, it increases more definition. It will build more muscle. And ladies, if you don't know this, y'all need more muscle. We all need more muscle because it's our armor. It protects our organs. If we get older and we fall, it's going to be there to protect us, okay? And it helps increase your metabolism. Muscle is life right now, okay? I want you to build muscle. So, if you haven't started working out and you're not moving your body every day, join the challenge, okay? It'll kind of get you going. But let's dive into this. Okay, day 14, pleasure is power, from apathy to aliveness. Now, what is apathy? You're going to learn today. If you've ever felt disconnected, like you're moving through your days on autopilot, not sad, but not alive either. You're just kind of like blah. Have you ever felt that? Just blah. Well, this episode's for you. Because today's challenge, pleasure is power, isn't about indulgence. It's not I'm going to go eat all this cake. I'm going to go have cupcakes. I'm going to go eat all this bad food, in the restaurants because you don't know what you're getting, right? I'm not saying you can't always do that, but I have this 80-20 lifestyle, 90-10 lifestyle where most of the time I'm actually eating really healthy, clean food. And there are some times I'll eat a little bit of processed or, indulge myself somewhere. It's not that kind of indulgence, okay? It's almost like a resurrection, right? You're just like, think of Yahweh, Yahshua. He resurrected, okay? It's about waking the woman who's been asleep in her own story. Tell me in the comments if you've been there, if you're currently there, where you're at. Let's connect. So let's talk about this zone zero. Okay, I started reading it and I was like, ooh, I got to dive into this because I know so many women could be here. Okay, the woman in apathy. So what is that zone apathy? We're going to talk about it. In Dianetics, zone zero is the state of apathy. It's when you've checked out emotionally, spiritually, and physically. I bet there's so many women that are just, I mean, I want to hope that there's women that are being inspired by other movers and shakers online, but maybe you are watching it, but you just don't have that energy, or you just don't have, you're like, I can't even get there because everything in my life right now is too heavy. I've been betrayed. I've lost my job. There's all these things that could keep you stuck, right? But you're still breathing. Okay. You've checked out, but you're breathing, but your spirit has flatlined. It's like that spirit that makes you feel alive. Y'all, we've all been there at one point or another. So don't say you haven't, okay? If someone says they've never felt that, I think they're full of it. It might only have been a day, okay? But everyone has kind of experienced that blah. All right, you've stopped feeling because feeling hurt feels too damn much. Okay, so you just stop feeling everything. You stop dreaming because it felt safer not to hope. You have convinced yourself that numb is peace, but numb isn't peace. It's actually a pause. You might be in a moment or a state of pause, okay? And girl, you've been pausing long enough, okay? So if you're there, even if it's a day, only been a day, you've been pausing too long. Let's go. So this is if you're at zone zero, okay, this is your get up zone. All right, because apathy is not the end. It's the indicator. Okay, it indicates, all right, something's deep in your soul is asking to rise again. You're asking yourself, if you're in zero, you know it's not it can't be the end. You know, this isn't what you were made for. More. I'm going to tell you that. I just want to tell you, told you guys the other day, I'm going to tell you every day, you are a child of God. We all are a child of God's, which his real name is Yahweh. And we are a part of him. We have power, incredible power to create. Okay? So knowing that, we shouldn't be down and out. We should be excited about life. Every day you wake up, you're grateful, you're excited, you're ready, let's go. Okay? So let's talk about the science and spirit behind pleasure. Pleasure is often misunderstood. The world teaches women that pleasure equals sin, distraction, or weakness, but true pleasure, divine pleasure, is power, okay? Because it reactivates your aliveness. So what is it in your world, in your life, that makes you feel alive? Think about that. It could be as simple as this. I'm going to tell you about me. Tell you a story. I used to watch my mom every day. Like we were on welfare, okay? But every day I watched my mom get ready for the day. She'd put on her mascara, she'd put on her foundation, she'd put on her blush. She didn't have like contouring back then. But she put on her makeup, okay? And she always looked like she was ready. You know what I mean? She just stunning woman, okay? People used to say she looked like Lonnie Anderson. So every day I would watch her. I would watch her do the mascara. And I would just get so excited for the day that I was going to be able to wear mascara and put on my makeup, okay? And so when I was in 7th grade is when my mom said, you can start wearing mascara. And I'll tell you guys, honestly, every day that I get up, I'm excited Honestly. And there's days that I've kind of been a little numb. I'll be honest. I mean, we've all been, I'm in a separation. I, my business has been shut down. I'm pulling my own self out of that. Okay. So don't think that I'm like preaching because I haven't been there. Girls, ladies, I have been there. Okay. So I know, but every day I have to remember because you know, one thing that Brad Lee says, if you don't know Brad Lee, follow him too. He says, if you woke up, you get another day. It's that mind thought process. Okay. Oh my gosh, I got another day because no, not everyone did. You know what I mean? Think about all the thousands of people around the world that died overnight. And we all know we're going to die, but you got another day. Isn't that incredible? I think so. And you are here. I believe we all are here for a purpose. And so I get excited. I didn't always work out, but I get excited that I get to go and move my body. It always makes me feel so good and so alive. And I feel like so accomplished when I get done. Okay. And the other thing is that makes me feel alive and helps my spirit is getting ready for the day. Okay. Sometimes I actually go to the gym a second, do another walk or whatever. And so there's days that I just kind of work in my gym clothes, and don't really do my hair. But honestly, you guys, I feel so much more alive when I get ready, when I put the makeup on, maybe even it might be pleasure just putting on some brighter lipstick. Okay. That can change your spirit. You may not have a lot going on right now, but just those little moves can help create that spark, bring that fire back. Okay. So the world teaches women that pleasure equals distraction, sin or distraction or weakness, but true pleasure, divine pleasure, is power because it reactivates your aliveness. So taking the time I'm going to get into what that might look like for you, but it's what happens when your body, mind, and spirit are finally in the same room again. Okay, neuroscience backs this up. When you experience joy or movement-based pleasure, dopamine and oxytocin activate your brain's motivation and trust centers. You literally rewire yourself out of apathy and back into creation. We're creators. Remember that. That's why pleasure is actually leadership. Okay. If you have children, you want to be a great leader for your kids. That's what's up. Okay. They don't want to see you flatlined. Okay. We don't want to do that. So be a leader. How to activate pleasure when you feel nothing. Okay. So how do you go from apathy to aliveness? You start small. Like I said, it doesn't have to be crazy. It's one thing. Pleasure begins with permission. So you give yourself permission to move, to breathe, to listen to your body again. Some people, there was a time I felt guilt. I would pour into everyone in my family, in my work, but I never poured into me. Like I got ready every day, okay? But I didn't work out. I didn't invest in myself. I didn't invest in personal development. I didn't invest by reading books. I didn't invest in myself by going to the gym and showing my body that I love my body, that my body is beautiful and I'm grateful for the body I have. I never did that. And so at the age of about 40, I started going to the gym and I learned what this feels like, and it completely transformed my life. And I learned that that's not selfish. We need to do that. Okay. So give yourself permission to do that. You got to work out. You got to find it out. Find out how you can incorporate that in your life. And I suggest doing it first thing in the morning. Move your body first thing in the morning, right when you wake up. You hydrate. I have an outline of my ritual if you ever want it, but it actually starts the night before. So today's day 14, right? So move with intention. Don't just work out, worship through movement. Feel every rep as a reminder. I'm alive. I got another day. I'm so strong and I'm building these muscles. Reclaim your sensory joy. Slow down when you shower, eat, stretch, or put on lotion. Like feel how it feels when you're, putting lotion on your body. Maybe do your lipstick and like take the time to kind of really outline your lips. Or if you're like me and you want to kind of like over accentuate because you have little lips, you could do that too. Okay. Rebuild through pleasure instead of numbing, nurture instead of distraction. I'm going to actually go, before I close this episode, I want to give you some examples of what it would look like to take the time to reawaken. Okay. It could be just different things throughout the day. So start your day with, self contact instead of chaos. So before you start your day, don't scroll on your phone because that's chaos, right? Don't go to your emails. Okay. You you might light a candle, you might journal, you might pray. It's those things, opens the blinds and you thank Yahweh for another day, for breath. Rebuild me in your pray that he rebuilds you. Pray that he gives you the confidence and the courage to move forward. Pray that he aligns humans in your life that that you're aligned with and that he wants you to connect with. Pray for those things, Maybe it's a pleasure moment. So just to give you an example, I hydrate, right when I wake up, I go to the bathroom and I brush my teeth. But then I drink this fire water in the morning, okay? So that it fuels my cells. So instead of rushing through, doing other things, make sure you hydrate. And then I get ready and I go to the gym. Okay. And then you might listen to a book, learn something new while you're working out. Maybe it's music. I mean, sometimes it's music for people, but then make sure you take some time to, listen to a book on, Audible or something like that. Something that helps move you forward. It's personal development type, Connect with some people, let people know that you see them, that you appreciate their message, that you like how they're showing up, or you want to collaborate, talk to at least 5 people. So, your pleasure and then moving the body. Okay, that was after, did I say that? If I didn't, I'm saying it now. You could be reading that book while you're working out or listening to music. Okay, you're getting in that's making your spirit feel alive again. You know what I mean? I want you to know that, keep in mind that if you have any trauma going on inside of you, trauma sounds so like broken to me. I hate using that word, to be honest. But we all have some kind of trauma, right, that we've experienced. And it's stored, unless we like scream or let it out, it can be stored inside of us if we just push that down and never talk about it and never let it out. I want you to know that movement and energy and maybe feeling it and letting it out and then moving through that's how you work through your trauma. You know that? So dance, turn up the music, move get that energy out of us. So maybe if a pleasure moment could look like, instead of rushing through, your shower, your bath or whatever, you feel the warmth of the shower on your skin. You like feel that. You might use scented body wash or essential oils that make you feel feminine and alive again. Okay. Movement devotion, the squats that I talked about. You could just try that. That's 100 of them. You're going to feel it. It's going to change your body. It's going to build your muscle. And then every time that you push through, when your legs are shaking or it hurts, you're teaching yourself that you can trust yourself again. You're teaching yourself that you're strong. It's going to help build your, strong mindset. And you know what else? It doesn't have to be crazy. You can start with one thing, one good habit, swap out from a bad habit, and slowly you'll compound more better habits in your life, and you'll see that your life will transform. Breakfast ritual. You don't eat standing up. Okay, I'm guilty. There's times I eat standing up, but it is better to sit, chew slowly. That helps with your digestion. It also helps with, sometimes we overeat because we eat so fast, but if we slow down our eating, we might eat less because we are taking more time and we're giving our mind and gut time to communicate and go, oh, I'm actually full. I don't need any more. And you thank your body for the strength to keep moving forward as you're rebuilding yourself, okay? And it matters. It means you're present. It means you're slowing down to receive instead of rush to perform. Maybe in the midday, okay, let's talk about your purpose. You can bring pleasure to the mundane. You know, you might put on a playlist that shifts your frequency. I love music. I think music is life. I got through a lot of difficult times in my childhood through fun and through dancing and just movement. And so, you know, when answering emails or calls, you might breathe between the tasks instead of holding tension in your jaw and shoulders, you know, like, you know, you step outside for 10 minutes, go for a walk. You feel the sun hit your skin. That's another thing that's really good in the morning. It helps reset your body, is getting the direct sun first thing in the morning, okay, when the sun comes up. That warmth, that natural dopamine is, that's life too. Right now it's kind of getting cloudy. I don't know where you are in the world, but I'm in Utah and it's kind of like you don't see the sun right now very much because it's kind of cloudy. You might eat lunch at a table, not in your car. You savor the texture, the flavor, and the gratitude for the food. And so that's just part of the rebuilding. You know, you're learning to find joy in the middle, you know, between responsibility and all of that. In the afternoon, you might embody faith. Okay. So you might journal, but you know what? I think that journaling, and you can do it when it's best for you, is, you know, being grateful for things, and you can write your feelings or get it out on paper. But in the morning is really a great time, you know, even if you do that before you hit the gym. I tend to, a lot of times I'm kind of like grateful and I acknowledge and I might say a prayer, then I do, you know, my routine. I don't always journal, although I think it is really helpful, to be honest with you. You might stretch, pray, and speak affirmations while looking at yourself in the mirror. And if you're triggered or overwhelmed, you don't shame yourself. Okay. You step away, you breathe. Breathing is, and holding it and letting that out. Think about all of that negative energy that's coming out when you do that. You know what I mean? And sometimes you might need to scream. You know what I mean? You're frustrated, but just getting that out and feeling it and being done with it, so be it. Okay. Um, that zone zero woman's nervous system has been stuck in freeze or flight. Pleasure is the devotion and retraining of safety, that you're safe. Here's an evening idea of what that could look like, okay? So the theme of the day could be reverence, not regret. You dim the lights, turn off the screens for 30 minutes. This is what I do. I shut everything down, you know, at least 30 minutes. I wind down pretty early. I'm in bed by 8:30 or 9, and I shut things down, you know, the phones, the TV. I do put on this like sounds of the ocean, or there's these chakras type, you know, um, sounds that is just calming. Okay. And I'll put that on, and you can listen to that type of frequency playlist, scripture meditation. I think it's really good. I always pull out my clothes that I'm going to wear for the gym the next day. So I'm removing any friction that could come up in the morning that could make me delay getting to the gym, and then I'll say, oh, I didn't have time. You know, sometimes you're like, I'm looking for a sock. I'm looking for, I don't know what to wear. And that every time I have never put my clothes out, it always adds an extra 15 to 20 minutes sometimes, because I'm like, what am I going to wear? What, you know, I always pull it out the night before. Like, charge your phone, make sure your headphones are charged. I do this kind of ritual, wash my face, brush my teeth, you know, turn things off, you know, and when meaning social media, you know what I mean? But I do listen to a sound like waves from the ocean or those chakra type sounds that kind of releases energy, and it's kind of healing for the body. I do that. Maybe you take a warm bath at night. That's always nice too. Sometimes I like to do that. You put on some pajamas, you oil your body, ooh, maybe even a nighttime tea. I've done that too. You might move slowly to a song that makes you feel beautiful, not performance but pleasure, okay? And presence. And you end your day whispering, today I showed up, tomorrow I rise higher. Not those exact words, but you know the meaning. You could use those words. But it matters because your body learns that pleasure is safe again. And that's how you're rewiring your brain for self-trust. It's like by creating these daily rituals and by giving yourself um, the permission to pour into yourself, to take the time to do these things. Women need it more than ever right now. I think always, but especially right now. And limit all the news. I'll tell you what, the news is not good. So the faith, my faith pillar, okay, that's going to build your spiritual safety. Okay, the fire is like movement that feels sensual, strong, and sacred, not just gym hustle. It's like your fire that rekindles energy and motivation. It makes you feel alive. It turns up your spirit and you're excited about life. Okay. Wealth, investing time in small joys, beauty, and gratitude rituals. Okay, that's opening, receiving energy, and magnetism. You want to be a magnet for wealth and, good energy and good people and vibrations and all of that. Okay, so I really hope that this helped. We can't. I want you to know that you can't lead women out of, if you want to help other women, okay, like it could be your children, okay, you might have daughters, and we can't ever lead them out of survival if we're still suppressing our own aliveness. The woman you're becoming isn't chasing high vibes, she's reclaiming holy energy. Pleasure isn't rebellion, it's realignment. Okay, becoming realigned with who we are and our, I love that. So to the woman in zone 0, you're in apathy. Okay, I see you. You're not lazy, you're healing. You're not broken. Say this, I'm rebuilding. And your first step back to power is pleasure. So if this message hit home, if you think another woman needs to hear this message because she's in her apathy zone, share it with her who's been moving through life half asleep. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I've been coming to you daily, sharing, faith, fire, and rebuilding through truth and energy. I hope this message touched you, and I appreciate you for joining. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I keep hitting the button wrong.